Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome back to another installment of Scott Selections here for Monday, May 15th. More of this video is coming out a little bit later, but I was busy in the morning, had some errands to run, so I now have some free time, and it's not a big deal because of the fact that the main games, including the playoffs, will start at roughly 8 o'clock Eastern time, so you still have plenty of time to place your bets based on my leans or whatever you view, so it shouldn't really be that big of an issue. Now, before we get into that, I have a couple of announcements to make. First of all, we ended up losing the play of the day yesterday with the Dodgers score first at plus 110. Dodgers ended up scoring 6 runs. Paddock struggled. Buck Kershaw gave up a home run on the first. So it is what it is. If you ended up taking Dodgers money line at minus 145, good job. But I saw value at plus 110. Didn't matter anyway because I lost. But either or. The second announcement is actually a big one. I'd like to actually announce that after a couple of months here on the air, we have actually been sponsored. So just a brief introduction on the sponsored content and who they are. We've become partners with a sports book in New Jersey known as PointsBet. And I'm just going to quickly talk about some of their products before I go into the leans for the day. So it's this new upcoming book from in New Jersey. If you are living in New Jersey and don't have the book, I'd actually recommend it because they have a lot of great deals. And I'll go into some of the bets they have here. They have 2 risk-free bets up to $1,000 each. So if you bet it and it loses, you get your money back. If you bet it and you win, then you can make up to $1,000. Moving on, you have the NBA playoffs. If you put a money line bet on a team and they are up after 3 quarters, you win. You don't have to wait until the 4th quarter. If they are up after 3 quarters, you win. And the first $100 is staked. So you'll get paid instantly if your team is up after 3 quarters. You don't have to sweat it out in the 4th quarter. You can simply just collect your money and move on for a one-time only deal. Moving on, you have a Tiger Woods champion promo. If you put a pre-tournament bet on Tiger Woods to win the 2019 PGA Championship and he finishes in the top 3, you win. And the minimum bet there is $25, so something to keep in mind. You can bet on him to win, and if he comes in 3rd, you still win. So that's also another great deal. And the NHL playoffs, they have another deal on that, just to go through the entire list. The NHL playoff deal is if the team you bet on is up by 2 goals at any point, you win. So you don't even have to wait until the end of the game. If your team goes up 2-0 3 minutes in, you win. So you get to cash that and collect your money as soon as possible. It's only for the first bet, but it is something to keep in mind. I will be posting a link in the description for a deal. Is there a minimum deposit? As far as I know, no, Terry. I believe that you can deposit whatever you want. But as far as I know, that is all the information that I have on it. We will be posting a link in the description below about it if you want to join that book, but that's something to keep in mind. And if you don't want to put in the link, we also have some promo codes which will apply to the site. But that's pretty much the big news here is that thanks to PointsBet, we have finally been sponsored, and it definitely feels great. Looking into the account, I personally don't live in New Jersey, but that book itself sounds very interesting. I've heard good things around the Twitter sphere, and as far as I know, the site, I believe it has a site. I'm going to post a link in the bottom. So I personally do not have an account there because I'm in New York, so I don't have access to it. But it's also brand new to me. This was introduced earlier today, so I don't really have all the information on the book yet, but that was the information so far provided to me. So I just thought we should cover that first. But now, another quick announcement here. The plays of the day have not been going well, to say the least, in the last couple of weeks. So I think what I will be doing, I'll still be providing some plays of the day on certain days, but on days in which I don't really see anything, instead of giving leans, I think I'll just let people know what my personal plays are so people can know where my money is going on any given night. So if you want to back me, you can. If you want to fade me, you can as well. Up to you. But with that being said, it's time to dive into the card. And we will start out with the NBA playoffs as you have game 1 of the Eastern Conference between the Milwaukee Bucks and the Toronto Raptors. Total is at 218. It's kind of a split line. You have 217.5 at Bovada, but you have 218.5 at pretty much every other book. And Milwaukee is favored by 6.5 or -7 at Bovada. A question from Cody. I don't really have an answer with regard to the book. It's relatively new. I can't say that I have an account there, but it was introduced to us as a sponsor for the show, and it seems like a very cool book. If I was in New Jersey, I definitely would have an account there. I don't know where else the book works. I'm pretty sure in New York it does not, but it's just something to keep in mind. And if you want to learn more about it, you can just click on the link below that I will be providing in the video if you want to learn more about the book to see if it's something that you could potentially be interested in. But anyway, back to the basketball game. I like the Bucks here at -6.5, and I like Toronto. I like the Toronto and Milwaukee under for me. Toronto is one of those teams, props to them for beating the Sixers in that tremendous Game 7 with Kawhi Leonard. But I don't know if it was you, if you were just watching the game, the fact that Kawhi Leonard took 39 shots just makes me believe that nobody else on the team feels confident in these big game moments. Especially, Kawhi Leonard carried the entire team. Kyle Lowry had a big steal and an assist late in the game, but overall, he definitely has shrunk in the playoffs. Siakam's been good, but not great offensively. So actually, there's something to address that I didn't get into. The tennis pick from last night got postponed as all of the matches in Rome ended up getting delayed due to rain. So the game will be tomorrow. So if you did not bet on the match, you still can, but it's still there, and I'll actually cover that in the tennis video later today. And since there are no new matches in Rome, I'll probably look at a challenger event or something along those lines for tennis. But either or, I still lean to the Bucks here. I'm personally going to have money on Milwaukee first quarter, and I'm personally going to have money on Milwaukee full game. For me, I just think that the Toronto is coming off of Game 7. Milwaukee hasn't played in about a week or so. I think Milwaukee's going to come into this rested. Toronto, I think, will be a little bit overwhelmed. I don't think anyone can guard Giannis. I know Kawhi's arguably the best defender in the entire league, but Giannis is a different animal. And I think that Middleton and Giannis and everybody else, including George Hill, who had a great playoff series against the Celtics, I just think Milwaukee's too good, and I'll personally lean to Milwaukee getting this done relatively easily. Props to Toronto for getting this far. I think Milwaukee's going to make it to the finals, especially with Malcolm Brogdon back, which is a huge addition to the Bucks, and I think Milwaukee will win this game by double digits. So I'll personally lean to Milwaukee first quarter, and I'll lean to Milwaukee full game, and I'll probably have money, and I will end up having money on both. Moving on, you have the hockey game between the St. Louis Blues and the San Jose Sharks. Series is tied 1-1. Props to St. Louis for winning on the road 4-2. Totals at 5.5, and the money line was at -145 for St. Louis, down to -138 or -140 about market wide. In terms of this game, I would lean to the under here. Not a very strong lean. I'm not going to have money on this matchup personally, but I think that St. Louis will definitely play a little bit more conservatively at home. San Jose has been getting on the power play a lot. St. Louis did a good job killing it off, but St. Louis can't afford to take as many penalties as they have, as San Jose's power play has been fantastic so far in the postseason. St. Louis's power play on the other end has not been great. I expect a small amount of goals. Game 3, I think St. Louis will try to play a little bit more defensive and will try to limit the odd man rushes for San Jose and try to counter. So for me, I'll lean to the under there. And in terms of the actual game itself, I'm not betting on it personally, but I would lean to San Jose here. Not because of the fact that I think that's not just the fact that San Jose is the better team than St. Louis, which in my opinion is the case, but I just don't think St. Louis is a good enough team to be laying -140 at home. Both games have been close. Both games, I should say, have been decided by multiple goals. The series has been close so far, but for me, I think that San Jose is too valuable here at an underdog price of roughly +125, and I think that San Jose is definitely a good value bet if you want to bet on the unpredictability of hockey or if you want to follow the zigzags theory, etc. But other than that, I'll go over some brief baseball thoughts. I lean to the over in the Cubs and Reds game. You have Sonny Gray versus Yu Darvish. Gray's been decent this season. Darvish has had an issue with his walks, and I simply think that the Reds and the Cubs should be able to generate a decent amount of offense, and I think both teams will score at least 4 runs, so I think that this game will be a minimum of a push, so I will lean there. Moving on, I would lean to the – I'm actually going to lean to the Mets here. Do I think the Mets will win the game? Maybe, maybe not, and Corbin's been great. But there's no way the Nationals should be a -160 favorite or a -155 favorite. I don't see that at all. The Nationals are terrible. I'm still shocked they haven't fired their manager yet. They've been terrible and underachieving for the last year or two. Font is not a great pitcher. Corbin is. But the Nationals bullpen is still terrible, and the Mets lineup has been solid lately. So I would lean to the Mets there at roughly a +140 price, +145, wherever you can get it to shop around. Moving on. One of the things I got right yesterday, if you had that prop available, was I said that you should potentially look into George Springer hitting a home run yesterday against Carpenter. And he not only hit a home run, but he hit an inside the park home run. So if you somehow found value there and you actually bet it, then you actually made a decent plus price. Similar thing tonight. You have the Tigers going up against the Astros. Verlander's on the mound against Soto. I mean, the Astros are laying minus 355. The only way I can look at that game is take the Astros team total over, or to potentially take the Astros minus 2.5 on the run line there. Tigers are terrible. The Astros are the hottest team in baseball. They're rolling. But, yeah, I personally think that the Astros should win that game by at least 3 runs. Yeah, Terry, I agree. I think the Bucks are just going to kill them, and I think that game will be a relative blowout due to the Toronto's fatigue. And I just think that Toronto will have issues matching up with Giannis, and I think Giannis should go for a very big night. So those are my thoughts on that. Moving on, I'm trying to see if there's any other plays that I like here. In terms of, I'd also lean to the over 7.5 in the Dodgers and Padres game. Both lineups did pretty well yesterday. Final score ended up being 6-3 with Kershaw on the mound, and I'm drawing a blank on the Padres guy's name. Sorry about that. But either or, they both came in with really solid records. Both teams ended up scoring a decent amount of runs. Maeda's been good this season. Strom's been okay. But the Dodgers are a very solid team, and the Padres are no team to slouch at either offensively. And I think that game will go over the 7.5. So I would lean there. Yeah, no problem, Paul. Appreciate it. But overall, the Astros, I wouldn't. It's a bad sign for the Tigers or for any team, when you look on a book and you see one team's team total is at 6.5 in baseball, and they reach the 6.5 by the 3rd inning. That's not exactly a good sign for Detroit, and I think that's a true testament to how good the Astros are, with Bregman and Springer as the front runners for the AL MVP award. But for me, I would lean to the Astros minus 2.5 there, and I'd also lean to the Padres over there. But the main lean that I have today is on the Bucks minus 6.5, and I think the Bucks should win by double digits against a Toronto team that relies heavily on one player, and their supporting cast has kind of shrunk over the last couple of games in the playoffs. But those are my thoughts. There will be a tennis video later tonight. I know that the tennis play for this morning between Kohlschreiber and Cecchinato ended up getting postponed, so it will be tomorrow instead, along with all the other matches. So instead, we will probably look towards the Challenger and try to find some value there. If we see a match fit, or maybe even a doubles match, we shall see. But either or, that's going to do it for this installment of Scott Selections here on May 15th. I will be posting the link to the information about PointsBet if you are interested in potentially joining that book, as they are our new sponsor. But with that being said, good luck to all of you and your respective bets today.